Okay, so pianists, welcome back. I think we all know each other, right? Everybody was here when Lonza introduced himself. So today, Catherine and Alma are playing their duo. April is on the list for a solo. You up for exercise? Okay. And we're going to talk about Schubert, the composer, the dessert, which is sherbet. And we're going to do a little listening. So Catherine and Alma, why don't you come on up? Catherine, you're on the top, right? Alma, is there room for you there, or do I need to find another one? I should probably find another one for next station. Do you need a metronome? You want the metronome? Yes. Okay, why don't you just sit down next to Sergey, and we'll watch for the stroller. I'm getting a metronome. Ready? Ready, go. I'm sorry to stop you. Let's try again. That was a little growly. Ready? So that's an A. You're down. Yeah, ready? Okay, so measure 4. You know where we are, Catherine? Can you pull through that? There you go. Ready, go. Rest, rest, rest. Take the repeat. Ready, go. Stop. Take the repeat a second time. Ready, go. So the repeat is the beat part.
Oh yes, sorry.
Okay. Ready, go. Here we have crescendo. Yes, good. Take it all together. And that's why we rehearse, right? If we could do it perfectly the first time, we wouldn't need to have rehearsals. And since we don't, we're having lots of rehearsals. Okay, and then April is going to play Echo 6. Come on. left hand isn't, right? Okay, so for Schubert. Oh, and if you're curious when it's your turn to play, it was in the Monday email. So your parents can double check the Monday email, the whole month is in there. Okay. So our composer today is Franz Peter Schubert. And here's a picture of him when he was very young. He actually didn't live all that long, but we'll find that out. So his father, Herr Schubert, was a schoolmaster in a small town near Vienna. It was important that his children should have musical training. Soon after Franz started school, when he was 6 years old, his father sent him to study with a music teacher in their small town of Lichtenthal. At the end of the first lesson, the teacher asked Franz, "Who has been your teacher before me?" "There has been no other," answered Franz. "Then how is it that you know so much about music?" the teacher asked. Franz explained, "I have a friend who works in a piano factory. He took me along to the factory to watch him work. When it was time to go home, my friend searched all around for me. But he could not find me because I was busy making up tunes and exercises on the pianos in the storeroom. My friend has taken me back to the factory many times." So do you understand what that was? He was going to a factory, a piano factory with his friend, and finding a piano and already making up his own songs, even though he had no lessons. "So that is how you learned," Franz's teacher exclaimed in amazement. One day, Franz's teacher came to his father with tears in his eyes. "I have never had such a pupil before," he said. "Whenever I want to teach Franz anything, he already knows it." Anybody like that in this room? When I go to teach you something, you already know it? No? Some of you think you do. Franz had a beautiful singing voice too. In Vienna, there was a famous boys' singing school. Franz had often heard the boys sing in the Imperial Chapel of the Emperor. His eyes grew big when he saw the choir boys in their uniforms trimmed with bands of gold. "Oh, I would love to go to that school," thought Franz. "But my father does not have enough money to send me. I will study for the examination anyway, and maybe some chance will come to me." So he worked hard to take a test on it, hoping he could get into this school, but not even knowing if he could. So he did all the work for the opportunity without knowing if he would have the opportunity. So when Franz was 11 years old, he traveled to Vienna to take the examination. The teachers were pleased. "You sing well, my boy. You don't need to worry about paying for our school. We have a scholarship for you." So he prepared and then he got the opportunity. Okay? When Franz joined the other boys at the first lesson, they laughed at him for dressing in poor clothes. They whispered, "He must be a poor miller's son." But when Franz began to sing, the boys stopped laughing, and they stood in silent wonder at the pure sounds that filled the chapel. Franz also played the violin in the student orchestra. So he played piano, he sang, and he played violin. He tried to find ways to be helpful at the school. He took it upon himself to care for the instruments, hand out the parts, and even light the candles. Soon, he was advanced to orchestra leader, which was the name for the concertmaster, the first chair in an orchestra, the best. One day, the conductor was out of town. Everybody remember who the conductor is? The guy who stands in front of the orchestra lines and conducts them and keeps them together. The conductor was going to be gone. "Will you conduct the orchestra while I'm away?" he asked Franz. Franz agreed, and he felt honored to conduct the chapel orchestra. So now he's a pianist, a singer, a violinist, and a conductor. How old is this kid? 13. We're 13 now. So, you guys need to step up your game a little bit. By the time Franz Schubert was 13 years old, he had composed, he's a composer too. Pianist, singer, violinist, conductor, composer. By the time he's 13 years old, he had composed songs, piano pieces, chamber music, some quartets, and orchestral pieces. "You must show your compositions to our teacher," urged one of Franz's friends. But Franz was shy towards his teachers, and he didn't want to show his work. One day, though, the chapel master saw one of Franz's compositions, and he said, "Oh, this boy has a special gift. He must study composition with the finest teacher." Franz and his new teacher became fast friends. The young boy was eager to learn and had a passion for writing music. His teacher used to say, "He has already learned everything, and God has been his teacher." It's pretty high praise. But to buy music paper for writing his composition wasn't something Franz could afford. Can you imagine? His family was so poor he didn't have money to buy paper for composing. Imagine his good fortune then when a friend came and said, "Franz, let me buy the music paper for you. Your gift in return will be beautiful music for the whole world." So then, when he was 16 years old, he lost his sweetness and purity in his voice. It usually happens to boys, right? Their voices go lower, and they get their Adam's apple, and they start to grow beards and mustaches and things, right? So he lost the voice that got him to this wonderful school. "We can no longer use you in our chapel choir," the singing master sadly told Franz. "We are sorry, but you must leave our school." What would Franz do now? He wanted only to compose music, but he could not earn enough money that way. "Come and teach in my school," said his father. "You can teach the little children their ABCs, and in your spare time you can write music." So that's what Franz did. For 2 years he wrote some of his most beautiful music. It was one of the busiest times of his life. After his long hours teaching at school, he would go home and compose sometimes 8 songs in a single day. "If only I could spend all my hours writing music," he would say. "Then I could put down on paper all the musical ideas that come crowding into my head." Until this time, most people hadn't heard about Franz Schubert and his compositions. Perhaps they might never have known him except for his singer friend. So this is the second friend who helped him, right? He admired Schubert's songs and sang them well. Whenever he gave a concert, he would include Schubert's songs on the program. From then on, Schubert's songs became very popular in Vienna. There is a story about the day that 2 of Schubert's young friends came by his room to take him out for dinner. They threw open the door and shouted, "Come on, Franz, let's go out for dinner. You've been working too hard." But when they saw Franz pacing back and forth across the room, they stopped to look in amazement. He was reading aloud a book of poems, and then rushing to the table to write, and then reading, and then writing. So he was taking poems and making songs from them. Finally, he finished composing the song. They forgot all about dinner and said, "Finally, let's take the song to the cafe and try it with the piano there." They listened, but they could not understand the meaning of the song. So Franz said, "Come with me." They left the cafe and stopped by the school of his old teacher. They performed the song. Nobody understood it, but his teacher said, if Franz does it, it must be right. His ideas come direct from Adam. So then he left his teaching job, and he had some friends that were giving him money to help him survive. And then he received a message from Count Esterhazy. So a count is kind of like a prince. He's a member of royalty. And this royalty said, would you be kind enough to come and live with us and teach my 2 daughters? Problem solved. Right? Now he has a place to live in a castle, hello, and he has a job. I would be most honored, he said, because he's not stupid. He packed up his music paper, a few shirts, and left his room to go to the court. Here he was inspired to write new music. Eventually, his music became known to more and more people. Unfortunately, he still didn't get paid for his compositions. His songs and dance music became so popular that parties in the homes of wealthy people were entirely devoted to his music. But nobody paid him for it. When Schubert was 25 years old and still very poor, he had a serious illness. But he still wrote some of his most beautiful string quartets and chamber music. Hearing of Schubert's illness, Count Esterhazy once again invited him, please come to us again. The summer really helped Franz. His spirits and health revived. He continued to write, and when he was 31, he gave his first and only public concert. It was a huge financial success and a big musical success. Now I will be able to buy a piano of my own, Schubert said. But not long after, towards the end of that year, when Schubert was still only 31, he contracted typhoid fever and died. On his tombstone it says, "The art of music has here a rich treasure." And very tragic, right? He finally started being successful and then died. Okay, so let's turn. Can you guys see if I read it here? Or should I take it all the way over here? It's okay? Okay, I tested it this morning, so hopefully the technology gods are happy with me today. It's not really loading. Okay, so Schubert, none of my Schubert songs are here. Guys, I have none.